Welcome once again to another episode of Decluttering 55 Plus with Michelle Passoff, where we talk with experts, authors, geeks, and authorities about a range of topics of interest and concern to our baby boomer listeners and those who love them. We not only talk about conventional clutter like papers, clothes, and other stuff, but we address next level clutter. What's next level clutter, you ask? Well, it's areas of life that can be confronting or confounding as we age. They're clutter because we have a tendency to sweep them under the carpet, put them off another day, or forever. Instead of turning our back on them, we take these topics out into the light of day so we can examine them and learn new things, get in action, and get things done. In the end, we assert that facing life head on will invigorate you and be supportive in creating a legacy, not a mess. Here we talk about health and fitness and food, digital decluttering, social relationships, preparing a memoir, what to do next and where to live in retirement, getting financial and legal papers in order, and even making final arrangements. Today we're going to talk about travel, because that's one of the things retirees often make it a point to do when they have more time. They whip out that bucket list, pack their bags, take to the planes, the trains, and the automobiles to see the sights far and near. LeLe Beutel is one of those people who not only started to travel when she left her job as a financial planner after 25 years, but she started to trek. She even wrote a book about it, and before she could say boo, she had a Facebook group called Senior Travelers and Trekkers, which grew to 40,000 members in the beat of a minute. I'm not going to tell you all about LeLe, but I'm going to let her do the honors. So let's welcome her. She's visiting us here today from, I think it's Missouri, right, LeLe?
Yeah.
Okay, I got the state right. Okay, it's out there, to a New Yorker, it's kind of out there, beyond the Hudson River.
Right.
But now I'm in Florida, so I'm learning more about other parts of the United States. So let's start talking about, how did you make the transition between being a financial planner to what? To doing what you do now, and what is that?
Well, that's a good question. So, one of the perks of my job as a financial advisor was I could actually earn trips if I qualified. And so every year I was able to earn one or two trips because of my
Nice.
job. Yeah. And so we actually started traveling back in 2004 and got to go to places all over the world because of earning these trips through my job. And that was always my goal, is to be able to travel. So obviously after I retired, which was a couple of years ago, I thought now I can actually have more time to travel and actually have a little more freedom to decide, where I want to go. Because the trips I earned were in designated places. So that's it's just always been a dream of mine to
What was the
travel.
what
I
was the
mean,
first place on your bucket list?
gosh, we love Italy. So, any place in Italy has always been on our list. But there are other places that we wanted to go, like Greece, and we were able to go to the Greek Isles, and we loved that. So, yeah, any place in Europe we've actually enjoyed going to. And in fact, next fall we're going to Eastern Europe, which we've
Oh,
never
wow.
been to. So, yeah.
That's exciting. I'm going to be interested to hear about that. I've traveled a lot in Europe myself, but in fact, I have a Belgian citizenship. But
Oh, wow.
so I can even stay there if I want. But
Oh,
I
my
have not.
goodness.
I have not been further east, so I'll be interested to hear about that. Now, you not only traveled, you trekked. So
Yes.
what's the difference? What's a trekker?
So, a traveler would be anyone open to traveling any mode of transportation, and that's mostly what we've done, over the last years. Bus, plane, train, automobile. That's mostly what we've always done. But I had it in my heart to do a trek, particularly the Camino de Santiago, because when I saw the movie The Way with Martin Sheen that came out in 2010, I thought I would love to do the Camino de Santiago, which is a 500-mile pilgrimage across northern Spain.
Did
And
you say
basically,
wait, stop. Did you say 500 miles?
yes,
Oh my God.
One of my goals was I would love to do this pilgrimage in honor of my son. Because in the movie The Way, Martin Sheen plays a character who walks it in honor of his son. And so I
Wow.
thought that would be perfect. So what happened is in 2022, a colleague approached me and said, "Would you like to? I would love to do the Camino de Santiago. Would you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've always wanted to do that." So we started planning together and we ended up walking in May of 2024.
Wow. Where does it,
So,
where, what, the Camino de Santiago, where does it
uh-huh.
start? Where does it finish? And how far did you go on that trip?
So there are many caminos actually. Your goal is basically a place called Santiago de Compostela in Spain, and that's where the cathedral in honor of Saint James is located. And that's your end result is to end up at this cathedral where you're laying down all your burdens, also in honor of Saint James.
So, two questions rolled into one. How do you prepare for such a long walk? And why did you think a walk would be a healing process for you in the wake of the loss of your son?
That's a great question. So I knew walking would be healing for me because one of the things I did, my son passed away from lung cancer. And one of the things I did for 12 years leading up to his death was I walked around a lake every day for it's about 3.3 miles. And I would just release all my cares and just talk to God. And that was probably the most healing thing I could have done and the thing that gave me the most healing and release from that whole situation. So I knew I knew walking would give me that. So I knew that a trek would be also healing, but I'd also heard other people say that, that particularly the Camino de Santiago is basically it's a healing trek. Now, one thing, just FYI, I mean, there are people that will do it more for physical or mental, but you meet many people that are there to release burdens, whether they're transitioning in life, they're, getting ready to retire, or they just, need healing from some ailment. You see all kinds of things. But the nice thing about the Camino is that everyone's walking for a purpose. So it's unlike any walk that you would ever
Huh.
do. Because everyone is there for a reason. And it's not typically not just physical, but often, sometimes you will meet people there for a physical reason. So what an unusual thing about the Camino is everyone you pass says Buen Camino,
Oh.
which is, have a good trek,
So you have a
well
connectedness
wishing.
with, you meet
You
people
have a
along the way and you have a
connectedness.
connection with everybody you're meeting along the way. Is there a map that takes
Absolutely.
there or a leader or people randomly start and finish where they want?
Both. So some people go in a group with someone like a guide. I did not, to be honest, I didn't run into that hardly at all. Most people are either walking individually or they may walk with a friend or a spouse or maybe a small group. You'll see everything there.
Okay, well
So,
that's sound. Is there an organization around the Camino Trek, or how do people find out about the Camino?
well, that's a good question too. So, one thing that led up to the site you referred to called Senior Travelers and Trekkers
Yeah.
is that another Camino walker and author and I started a site called Senior Travelers on the Camino. And that has actually grown to 65,000
Wow.
followers. And because we found a niche among people over 50 that wanted to do this or had done it, and they go to the site to ask questions like, what kind of shoes should I wear? Or what's the best hiking pole? Or should I stay in an albergue, which is like a hostel, or should I stay in a hotel? And here are my physical issues. What should I do? And can I do it? So you have all manner of questions from people on the site, and you'll get
And
all kinds of answers too.
that's a Facebook. It's a Facebook group called
Uh-huh. It's
Senior.
Travelers on the Camino.
On the Senior Travelers on the Camino. And then how did that
Yes.
lead to Senior Travelers and Trekkers? Is that the other Facebook site that you have?
Yes. So the way that it led to that was that I did another subsequent trip, actually last year, and it was to the Cotswolds. Now, what led up to that was I really wanted my husband, who couldn't walk the Camino just because he has some leg issues, he couldn't walk that far. So we did some research and we decided, the Cotswolds in England, which is a very small area of England that's full of these very quaint Cotswold stone houses and buildings. And the towns are maybe, 6 miles, maybe, not even up to 9 miles in distance from each other. And we decided to plan a trip there. And so we made all the arrangements and arranged to have our luggage transported, kind of like I did on the Camino. And we ended up walking through the Cotswolds last year. So basically, to share ideas about good places to go for seniors, that's what triggered my interest in starting another site for anybody, not just people, walking on the Camino de Santiago.
So that's called Senior. So Facebook is a good gathering place to
It is.
to if you're wanting to trek or you're wanting to travel, you can go to Senior Travelers and Trekkers. Now, what are the most
Right.
what are the most common conversations that you're going to find going on and on Senior Travelers and Trekkers, which I understand grew like blockbusters. It went from nothing
It
to
has.
40,000 people in how much time? And what are people talking
Probably
about?
within 6 months. Yeah, within
Wow.
6 months. So again, we just happened onto these niche groups, which are seniors who have the time and want to travel, but they want to know other people's experience and what has been a good experience for you. So some of the questions we're getting or conversations is, have you ever thought about going to Sri Lanka? Or, I'm thinking of going to South America. What are the best places to go, and what do you recommend? Or, I'm going to Iceland. Do you have any recommendations on places to stay? Or places to fly into. If you want to go to a small area, what's the best place for me to book to fly into? And what are the best sources of transportation to that place? So those might be some of the questions that you would encounter on Senior Travelers and Trekkers.
So you can almost just go there and see what people are saying and be an armchair traveler if you don't have a ticket anywhere yet, but you might be inspired to. Well, I want to
And we
really
have a
thank.
lot of people that are doing that.
Yeah, it gets your mind thinking. Maybe I wasn't
Uh-huh.
thinking about going to Iceland, but it sounds like a great place to go. So you may find yourself expanding your bucket list.
Exactly. And I
Where,
was
where,
shocked when I was just going to say, I was shocked when I put out a question, what, what is your next destination? Where would you like to go? What's on your bucket list? And many of the places were places I'd never even thought to go. So I was
uh-huh.
really surprised.
Well, that's a lot of fun, and that's one of the things that people think of doing after their retirement. So it's a good place to
Right.
stop in and play a visit to Senior Travelers and Trekkers. So that's all we're going
Yes.
to have time for today. So we're going to have to wrap this up. And I want to thank you so much for coming to the show. Now, for all of you out there with the Wanderlust, go ahead and find your way to our website as well, because we're going to take you on a tour through your stuff. www.decluttering55plus.com. Click on the Let's Connect button and join our community. We will keep in touch with all the news you can use so you can make room for what matters. Like us on Facebook and Instagram, join us on YouTube, and it makes a difference for us if you do that, that we will make a difference for you. Also, visit our HTV, which is a streaming network where you can see our other broadcasts as well as other interesting programs. Again, thank you all for joining us today. Get out there and get going. Also, did I mention that we have a new book out? It's called Decluttering 55 Plus with Michelle Passoff, Wisdoms to Create a Legacy, Not a Mess. And you can get it on Amazon and www.layitflat.com. Tell all your friends about it. Buy them a copy. Give a copy to your parents if you're listening, or your grandparents if you're still listening to the show with them. And it'll inspire you to get in action and get things done. It sits on a tent, it sits like on your desk, like a tent. It has a spiral top, and you can flip it each day, a week, a month, and it will inspire you to, with its illustrated wisdom, to get in action. So for now, we're going to close out the show and wish you a clutter-free day. Thanks for coming.